The banks are ready, governments and central banks around the world have been preparing, and now Wall Street is getting ready to sell it to you. But if you're like me and many others in this community, we weren't waiting around for the institutions in Wall Street to sell it to us or to tell us that yes, your banking app is now running on crypto rails. We didn't wait around for the official confirmation. We took advantage of this opportunity to stack these assets before they prepared, got ready, and are now ready to offer it back to us. This is why we're going to win so big on crypto. I'm so glad that you made it here. If you're new to this channel, make sure that you're liking our content, sharing it out far and wide, and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates. All of our community resources are available at ZachRector.com. Now let's get right into it, folks. We got to talk about it. So we're going to be looking here at the Fed cutting interest rates this week. What has this done historically when the markets are already at all-time high, right? Your S&P 500 just hit a new all-time high last week. Inflation still running hot. And the Fed is going to be delivering a rate cut because the labor market is just that bad, right? They're giving up on inflation, obviously using the excuse Trump and the tariffs. It was him. He's the bad guy. Don't blame us. It's not the Fed. It's Trump. We know that's their excuse. But they have to cut rates because the labor market's so bad and they know it. They know that it was all a lie. Nearly 2 million jobs revised out of the data from our government in 2023, 2024, and for the 12 months ending March 2025. And so they absolutely have been lying about this economy. They lied about inflation. What can the Fed do to fix the unemployment rate? Well, they can deliver some rate cuts here to ease up the conditions on the ground for businesses. Main Street economy needs a little bit of relief. And so they're sacrificing inflation to deliver the rate cuts for the business cycle. Here's what happens to markets, though, when this happens. Take a look. So we're looking here. Kobesi Letter put together a great thread. When the Fed cuts rates within 2% of the all-time highs, the S&P 500 typically loves it. In 20 of the last 20 times that this has happened, the S&P 500 has ended higher 1 year later. So we can pretty much unequivocally say, unless this time is different than 20 out of the last 20 times, that this market's going higher by next year. You're going to be at a higher price for the S&P 500 and for crypto as well, right? That correlation between the stock market and crypto still very prevalent for the time being, and I expect that to continue. And so we're looking at the markets being higher 1 year from this week when we do get the first rate cut. And on average, it's risen 13.9% for the S&P 500 over the following 12 months. And this is by Carson Research. That's good to see. But here's the warning, and I've been warning you guys about this, right? That you're going to see a buy the rumor, sell the news event take place with the rate cuts. The market's going to rally with the expectation of the rate cuts. And then once it's actually delivered, the market's going to say, oh crap, maybe the Main Street economy is not as strong as they were leading us to believe. And so in the next 30 days, you got mixed results, 50-50 chance we're going up or down. Since 1980, the S&P 500 has fallen in the following month 11 out of 22 times that this has happened. Particularly in the late 1980s and 90s, stocks saw weakness over the short term. This time around, we expect a similar outcome. There will be more immediate term volatility, but long-term asset owners will party. Why do we think that? Because interest rate cuts are coming into rising inflation and the AI revolution only adding fuel to the fire. And you also have crypto to join the party, right? Gold and Bitcoin have known this. The straight line higher price action we have seen in these asset classes is pricing in what's coming. Gold and Bitcoin know lower rates into an already hot backdrop will only push assets higher. It's a great time to own long-term assets. Now, when we look at our portfolios, XRP's been the best, one of the best assets to own since the election took place in November of 2024. And it has drastically outperformed Bitcoin over the past, basically since almost the last 12 months, right? Because we're into September now, so it's almost been a year. We're approaching 1 year since the election, and by far we have outperformed Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the rest of the space, along with the stock market too. This is why some of us are guilty of being, all in XRP in these assets. And this was a big bet that we made, and it's paying off really well. But once again, on our price action over the next 30 days, you easily could see a big drawdown, right? 5 to 10% in the stocks. You could see 20 to 30% in crypto. It could get a little bit messy out here short term, right? But 12 months from now, we will be higher. That's the good news. So short-term traders, prepare yourselves. And the other thing that I've noted too is that I still think you'll see a sell the news event when the rate cuts come in. But the other dynamics and catalyst in crypto, like ETFs going live in October for XRP, Solana, and maybe others, that's going to continue to drive us higher. So once again, we've already rallied up leading up to the rate cut. Now we get a little sell the news event that takes place. Probably a buy the dip opportunity once again, because we're going to run back up into October and November with these ETFs going live for XRP and other digital assets. Now, the reason why I titled this video Banks Are Ready is because we had this most recent report come out here from Bitcoin service provider River, sharing a status chart tracking these banking giants across two areas, custody and trading. Okay. The snapshot revealed that 13 of the largest banks have advanced from not yet to exploring, announced, or even offering limited access to crypto services primarily targeting high net worth clients. And don't you love that game, right? The accredited, the high net worth, they always get treated the best. They always get service first while they leave the peasants behind. But raise your hand if you're one of the peasants that took advantage and you've been stacking the heck out of these assets. We didn't need Wall Street to sell it to us. We're going to allow Wall Street to sell it for us, right? We load up. I get to sit back and kick up my feet here. And now Wall Street gets to sell these assets for us. I'm not going to give you financial advice, but the Wall Street boys and girls, they will be. They'll be selling it for us, helping us generate us some exit liquidity. But among the banks on the list, you got Morgan Stanley preparing to allow its 15,000 brokers to recommend spot Bitcoin ETFs. By the way, Ethereum, XRP, Solana come next, right? It starts with spot Bitcoin, and then they move on over. Putting in place suitability, guardrails, and allocation limits to guide client investments. Charles Schwab, CEO, also recently announced plans to enable direct trading of Bitcoin and Ethereum on its platform, aiming to unify management of all holdings in one place. Meanwhile, PNC has partnered with Coinbase to offer wealth and asset management clients the ability to trade cryptocurrencies directly through their PNC accounts, eliminating the need for a separate platform. In custody and tokenization, State Street plans to launch stablecoins and tokenized deposits to improve settlement processes, with upcoming projects targeting tokenized bonds and money market shares. Here's one that we love to see: the largest custodian and the oldest custodian in America, BNY Mellon, continues to deepen its crypto footprint by acting as custodian for reserves tied to Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin and taking on roles in various ETF products. BNY Mellon going to be showing up at Ripple's Swell conference, and so is Citi. Citi has also explored blockchain platforms like Solana for next-generational financial services and tokenization pilots, with custody service considerations reported through early 2025. JP Morgan's not going to miss the party. Been particularly active, launching multiple crypto initiatives this year. Its June pilot of a tokenized deposit token on its base blockchain aims to enable instant dollar transfers, and CEO Jamie Dimon has announced plans to test stablecoin services alongside it. So you do have some folks that are behind. Capital One, HSBC's U.S. division. First Citizens, Citizens Financial, M&T Bank, and Barclays U.S. divisions are amongst others on the list that don't offer custody or trading services and aren't currently exploring crypto-related products either. So some of these guys, I guess they are just planning on getting left behind. Or are they just working on stuff behind the scenes and they just haven't made it public yet? I would say with conviction that there's not one bank or institution out here in the United States or in the world that is not exploring crypto at this point. And by the way, all of those firms that are announcing trading of Bitcoin and Ethereum, that's what the headline comes out with, right? And remember, this was coming from a Bitcoin service provider, River. I've never really heard of this company before, but they're probably got a little bit of a bias towards Bitcoin, I'm assuming. And like many of these articles that come out, they'll say, oh, so-and-so is going to offer Bitcoin trading. You look into the actual text of what they're doing, it's Bitcoin and every other crypto. Same thing was happening with these Bitcoin strategic reserve bills. Oh, this state is going to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve. You actually go read the bill, which nobody did. I actually printed out the bills and would read them out to you guys and show you that actually it's Bitcoin and any other digital asset that they want to create a stockpile for. It's not just Bitcoin. And we know that the rails of the new system are not going to be Bitcoin. They're not going to be these meme coins. Some of them have tried things out with Ethereum, not working out so well. But we know that XRP has been working with these institutions and helping speed up the process. It's been interesting. The institutions that have partnered with Ripple, we've been watching them growing, expanding, making acquisitions. So when you partner up with Ripple, they help speed the process along. They help you keep your competitive advantage. And this is why I've always put my money, or so much of my money, into XRP and Ripple, knowing that they've been holding the hands of these institutions before they even knew what crypto was, right? Ripple was teaching them from the very beginning. Now, I saw this post from Mason. I thought this was interesting. From, peddling the meme coins and silly stuff to now, and talking about dumping his XRP at $4 and $5. Now he's changed his XRP exit strategy. Not selling any tokens at $4, not selling any tokens at $5. Instead, I want to use my tokens to participate in the future of finance. XRP Fi, decentralized finance on the XRP ledger. And I'm going to be putting out a video probably tomorrow talking about how to never sell your XRP or other cryptos as well too, right? Just living off these cryptos, generating yield and passive income. How can we do this? I know that many of us, and in the ideal scenario, we would never sell these assets. Now, I've noted, right, I'm going to sell off a little bit of my trading bags of XRP. I'm going to sell off some of my altcoins. But XRP is the one asset that I do treat like a reserve, and I'm trying to maximize my profits on other altcoins so that I don't have to sell my XRP, right? And my plan is the same thing as Mason mentioned right there, whether it be DeFi, decentralized finance, or whether it even be centralized. I'm looking forward to the day where I can walk into my Bank of America branch and say, hey, I'd like to give you 10,000 XRP to put down as collateral on a new home, right? That day's coming. And that's what I'm excited for, right? Some of you already got the Gemini credit card. That's linked up down below in the description of the video, right? Where you're going to basically just be spending fiat like you normally would, but earning XRP back. And then think about this, right? You take that XRP, you go put it into yield products. They're going to generate you yield, right? It's just a continuing cycle. But the big thing, the big thing that I want everybody to consider is your due diligence. All of XRP DeFi is new. And so what happens here is it's going to be an initial wave of all these new providers, all these new opportunities, all these new programs. And you need to not be the first to rush in and throw your money at these new schemes and programs and ideas and ways to generate yield without understanding where the yield's coming from. So although I want to hold on to all my XRP forever to generate yield, I am not going to be giving any of these platforms a big chunk of my XRP right away. We want to see where the yield's coming from. Is that going to be sustainable? And is our XRP going to be secure while it's within, that platform, that yield opportunity? So this is why I think some folks will have to sell some XRP, this bull run, is because those products just are not ready. They're not mature and they don't have track record. We want to see track record, sustainability, and security before I'm going to be giving anybody my XRP, centralized or DeFi, either way. Now, XRP, the setup is still very bullish. Crypto V says, all you had to do was sit on your hands and enjoy the ride. Nothing has changed. $8 to $10 XRP has been the target since 50 cents. We're still well on our way, right? And he does have us pulling back after that. I should show you that right there, right? We run up to $8 to $10, and then he is expecting that pullback. I've been worrying about that too. Okay, let's slide on over and take a look at our XRP price chart. We're at 303 as I record this update. We went back on down to 301, but big momentum returning over the past week. September 7th, we had it marked off on the calendar as a date to watch out for. Sure enough, I have the July fractal right here, these green bars. I wanted to see if we could do what we did back here in July. See if we can set something up like that again to take us back above $4. We are on track. Please note, there are days, right, where you had pullbacks along the way on this July fractal. Okay, you had one red day right here. So what do we got right here? You got one red day, two red days, but the structure and the setup is still on its way. And we have, a few more trading days before that September 17th interest rate decision comes in. And so could we see XRP pop up here? I am going to be looking at potentially de-risking for my XRP long. I wanted to do it above $4, but I'm going to be watching because we could see this pullback here after the interest rate decision on September 17th. So we'll continue to watch it. Markets holding up really well. The banks, the institutions, and Wall Street getting ready. And boy, did it present just a fabulous opportunity for us to front run them. And so we took advantage of that. Now Wall Street gets to sell it for us. Now they admit that, yes, the new system is going to be on DLT technology. And I can tell you guys, just in closing, we're down here on a trip. We just attended a wedding yesterday. Really just a beautiful wedding, had a great time. But some of the folks were asking what I did, for work, and I'm explaining it to them. And I was talking to some elderly folks, and it was the first time where I've really had somebody elderly basically say, they basically lit up with excitement, wanting to learn more about how crypto was going to be the new rails, right? And I went on to explain, right? And I'm not just shilling XRP. I'm explaining how, stable coins are going to be crucial to this, the new system, right? And just, breaking it down in the most simple terms. But it was a data point that I collected, last night as I'm speaking with somebody, an elder, and basically it was an acknowledgement to me that they know there's something there. And when I told them that I'm invested into XRP and I put out a lot of XRP content, and I said these words, it's been one of the best performing assets since the last election. And I happen to know which way they lean, and their eyes lit up a little bit further. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is now these folks, they say, okay, this kid, he's making a full-time living off of crypto and media. There's something going on here. He just told me that this XRP asset's been the best performer since the election. Now this guy goes to his 401k, financial advisor, money manager, and he says, hey, I just learned about this. What's going on here? Now, I know you said that you can sell me a Bitcoin ETF, but where's the XRP ETF? What's going on with this? Because he told me that XRP's outperformed Bitcoin. You're trying to sell me Bitcoin. What's going on here? And this is the big unlock, where all this 401k money comes in, all the retirement, all the pension funds, and they start to get exposure to not just Bitcoin, not just Ethereum, but they want the rails of the new system. And they're going to explore XRP. They're going to be moving, and it's 8 to 12 trillion, depending on who you ask, of 401k and retirements. They can move on into XRP. By the way, I'm very excited to announce that we have officially partnered up with iTrust Capital for 401k crypto products, and they will sell you precious metals as well too. So I've been waiting to find a community resource for 401k crypto products. We are now partnered up with iTrust Capital, so I am going to plug their link on down below. Make sure you guys check out that. I'm going to be looking to see about potentially setting up a account with them myself. But I would encourage you guys to take a look if you've been meaning to roll over portions of your 401k to crypto or precious metals. We got a community resource available for you guys now. So hit the link down below. Let them know that I sent you. Very excited to finally fill that hole in our community resources linked up down below. Okay? I appreciate you guys. Hope you're having a great weekend. We'll see where XRP closes off the day here in just a few hours. We're going to keep the updates coming. God bless you all. Thank you so much for your support.